There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no... Oh, I guess I'm home again. And I have no idea how I got here. Oh my gosh, and you're all here too. Well, welcome to my kitchen again. I'm just not very prepared this week for the entree contest because I just couldn't come up with a recipe, and so about a week ago I decided to travel the country to see if I could find the perfect recipe. And so I got in my car and first I went to the West Coast, drove up and down the coast, went in lots of different places, didn't find a recipe. Decided to go to the East Coast, drove up and down that, stopped and looked in a lot of places in New York City, found no recipe at all. So I thought, well, maybe the breadbasket of the United States would be a good place to look. So I drove to Kansas City and looked and looked. Same thing happened there, no luck. I did pick up a few things from each of my stops and put it in my basket here. But the last thing I remember was I had given up and was coming home, and there was this really awful storm, and the next thing I know, it was like I'd been transported to some other country or dimension or something. I was out in the woods, I was lost, there were scary things going on. But just when I had about given up, I met three of the nicest people. I met a Mr. Scarecrow, a Mr. Tin Man, and a Mr. Lion. And they really comforted me and made me feel like I already had all the answers for my quest of finding this wonderful recipe, and they would try to help me to get back home. So somehow they did get me home. At least I'm pretty sure that they had a hand in it. So anyway, let me go through my basket and I'll show you the ingredients I picked up on the way, and I'll see if I can make something out of this. But wait a second, there are new things in here. I did not put that in, and what is this? Oh, look how cute. It's organic golden pale ale with a scarecrow label. And there's a note on it. Let me take this note off and I'll read it. It says, one for the pot, one for the cook. Sandy, use this symbol of me, the scarecrow, in creating your own original comfort food entree. And remember what all your new friends asked you before we transported you home? We asked, what have you learned, Sandy? And you said, well, I think that it wasn't enough to just want to get back to my own kitchen again and trust in my own creative abilities to come up with a new recipe. And if I ever go looking for my heart's desire again, I won't look any further than my own kitchen pantry. Because if it isn't in there, I never really lost it to begin with. And he goes on to say, after looking at the ingredients already in your basket, I've added my special golden pale ale and one ingredient you can't do without, Philadelphia cream cheese. And sure enough, here it is, a whole 8-ounce package of Philadelphia cream cheese, which makes everything creamier and yummier. He says, I challenge you to add these bonus ingredients to your dish and call it spicy bacon, crab meat, mac, and Philly cream cheese of Oz. Okay, Scarecrow, whatever you want. I so appreciate him getting me home somehow. So what I will do is go see what I can find in my pantry, and I'll try to put something together here, and I'll get back with you then. I'll just run through them with you so that you know what's going in, besides all of the ingredients that I picked up on my trip and the bonus ingredients from Scarecrow. So first of all, let's start with the pale ale. What I'm going to do with this is heat it up in a small saucepan, bring it to a boil. Then we're going to add in the sun-dried tomatoes from California, the chili pepper from New Mexico, and I found dried porcini and shiitake mushrooms. We'll put those in the boiling beer, turn the heat off, cover the pan, and let it sit so that these dry ingredients can reconstitute. And then after they've sat 10 or 15 minutes, we'll drain them, we'll reserve the beer for the sauce. So we want to use all of that good flavor. Now, the next thing will be 5 cups of the whole grain pastas. I actually had some whole grain pasta already besides what I brought back from my trip. So I mixed the shapes. I like to mix that. It makes it a little bit more fun. I like to use a medium size so that they capture all of that gooey, cheesy sauce. Another thing I'm going to be doing when I cook this pasta, instead of just water, which I will add about a tablespoon of salt to, sea salt, I'm using a low sodium chicken stock. And this is I'm going to use this whole container, so that's like 26 ounces. That's going to add a whole lot of flavor to that pasta. Next thing I'll do is fry 5 slices of thick sliced applewood smoked bacon and fry it crispy, drain it on paper towels, and let it cool down, then chop or crumble it, and we'll be adding that in to our veggies that we're going to fry in that bacon grease. And in that I'm using a half of a sweet yellow onion, a red bell pepper, a sweet pepper, and I will use out of this head of garlic, I'll use 3 large cloves of garlic. So, like I said, after that's done, mix that bacon back, the crumbled bacon back in with that, put it in a bowl and set it aside until we need it. Next, we're going to make our white sauce that will be the base for our cheese. And so I'm using 4 tablespoons of butter, 3 tablespoons of flour. I'm using whole milk, half and half, and heavy cream. And the secret ingredient here, fish sauce. I'm only using like a half a teaspoon of that, but it's going to give a taste, a flavor that you're not going to really quite recognize, but it's really going to be good because of the crab meat. So next, once this sauce all thickens up, then we're going to throw in our spices. And I'm using sea salt, I'm using lemon pepper instead of black pepper, I'm using nutmeg and dried thyme leaves. And then we'll turn the heat off and we'll add in our crab meat that I picked up on the East Coast and 3 Kraft cheeses. And these are 2 of them are shredded, and I'm going to use the Italian 5 cheese blend and the triple cheddar. And I'm going to reserve a half a cup of each of these, and I'll tell you how we're going to use that. And then, of course, a whole block, 8-ounce block of Philadelphia cream cheese that the Scarecrow was so nice in giving us. Everything's ready to be taste tested. This turned out looking so good, and look what I found in the refrigerator. That's what he meant by that little note on the front of the note. He said 1 for the pot, 1 for the cook. Oh, he's so clever. I really appreciate that too. It looks really good, smells really good. I've never had organic beer before. I've already dished up a little bit. I have to show you this though in the casserole. It just came out gorgeous. What a colorful dish. I mean, besides it smells really great, it always helps, you know, when your dishes look wonderful too. So now we'll taste. Fill this bowl up because you know if you don't, you're going to come back for seconds anyway. But here we go. That's the best mac and cheese that I have ever made anyway. That is delicious. On the side, I thought I'd just do some little asparagus, roasted asparagus bundles, and sprinkled a little Kraft Parmesan cheese on those and roasted them, so I'll have that or have a salad on the side. Anyway, we'll have to take a taste of this. I'd like to propose a toast. This is to Scarecrow and all the other friends that I met. Now I know what they meant when they said, there's no place like home. And there's nothing that compares to home cooking, especially a wonderful entree that's also one of the best comfort foods in the world. Cheers, everybody. Very good, very good. Wow, looks like a tornado went through this place.